Welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. Today's guest is David SHER. He's got a company that collects money.
Right, SHER.
In a compassionate way.
Yes, thanks.
But he's known to us as Comeback Town. And he is on the internet with that and doing a lot to try to help Birmingham get up to the 21st century. We're getting better, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Thanks for being with us.
You're quite welcome.
What's going on in our city, in county, I guess would be a better way to say it.
Well,
since we're comprised of 37 municipalities, it's a little complicated.
Well, that's how you could look at, when I say Birmingham, I'm generally going to be talking about metropolitan Birmingham,
yes.
Not just the city of Birmingham.
Right.
But if you look at metropolitan Birmingham, I think that you'll see all kinds of great things happening. There's a tremendous amount of construction and
especially
development
on the
going
south side.
And some others are just really doing well. On the other hand, if you want to talk about jobs, not so good. And we're not just talking about the city of Birmingham. We're talking about a metropolitan area. Amazingly, there's fewer people working now in our metropolitan area than there were 10 years ago. So,
wow.
And if you compare that to
That's disheartening.
If you compare that to our peer cities like Charlotte or Nashville or Austin, they've had double-digit job growth, where we have just we're starting to gain a few jobs, but we haven't gotten back to zero yet.
Well, if we have a turn down in jobs and an uprise in construction, particularly in housing construction, what are these people doing here? Would be my question.
No, I think you got to remember, though, that not much has gone on with Birmingham as far as development for a really long time, so you've got a lot of makeup to do. And the other thing is that, and I quote this because the folks at Bear Property say this all the time, Jeffrey and David, and they say that Birmingham is not the moon. We're just like every place else. It just takes us a little longer to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And
more like Mars.
Yes. and so consequently, there's been a huge amount of housing that is developed in other cities. In Birmingham, in the downtown areas. In the downtown area, we didn't hardly have any. So we're just now beginning to get the housing that everybody else has. And then the second part of that is that younger people, they like walkable communities. They're not real quick to want to drive or to have a car in many cases. They want to be able to park their car, walk to work, walk to wherever their entertainment is. Mm-hmm. And the best chance you have is in the central business district.
Well, the way our suburbs are broken up, they're not walkable, I don't believe.
Right. There are a few exceptions, but generally speaking, the real walkable community is going to be downtown.
Well, we hear a lot about downtown Birmingham, but we also hear a lot about other pieces of Birmingham that are being ignored. And I'm talking primarily about the western side of town. Mm-hmm. There are some things going on in Woodlawn, I understand. I haven't been there, but I've heard positive things about what's going on in Woodlawn. Do you foresee any growth in those parts of Birmingham aside from just urban downtown Birmingham?
Yeah, I really do. And a good example of that is take a look at Avondale, what's happened over there. There's so much development over in Avondale, you almost can't keep up with it. And 5 years ago, families would never be in Avondale. Now there's a rush to have all types of properties being developed there.
But there's limited space, from what I can tell.
Sure, but again, that limited space means places have got to go someplace.
Yeah.
And so you're beginning to see the inkling of that in Woodlawn in some spots. And so, you got to start someplace. Mm-hmm. And downtown is the one that's had the big growth, and I think that it's starting to bleed over into other areas, because downtown's going to get a lot more expensive too. And so people who want to have businesses or places,
walkability,
right? Then you're going to see the opportunities pop up in other areas.
What about west?
West, of course you've got situations with the mayor's running for office again soon, and he's had his eye on the western section of town because he's gotten a lot of pressure that he's putting all the development into downtown Birmingham. So I think that he wants to try to make the people in other parts of the city feel like they're not being, no one's paying attention to him. And so I think that you're going to see some efforts in all different parts.
Well, what about recently? The mayor came out, Mayor Bell, friend, not foe, with the announcement of a project in a building in Inslee.
Right.
It's been there for years.
Right.
And then 2 days later, that building is announced that it's been ordered demolished. How does that happen?
Well, I think that he probably had a sense that that was going on. And
I would hope.
No,
Because the lawsuit's been pending. I mean, it should get filed one day and demolished the next.
Right, but I think, I can't remember the number, I think it's $40 million they're going to put into a property. And so they can take a property that's in disrepair and put a lot of money into it and fix it up. But, politically, that's probably a smart thing for the mayor to do because, again, he's taken a lot of heat for not developing areas outside of downtown.
So is your suggestion that his announcement was just a political announcement?
Well,
he could still take the money and put it into that part of town, dealing with a vacant lot as opposed to a structure that's falling over. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. It could start from ground up.
Well, it's really hard to know all the different. I'm not know what really goes into a decision when it's made. It could, it could be very well be exactly the right thing to do. That's a piece of property in an area that really has been hurting.
Yeah.
And typically
it's a great area too.
Well, typically, if you look at downtown, you have a few big projects that have gone, and all of a sudden you have lots of others that happen around it. Mm-hmm. So the hope is in that area the same thing would happen.
Well, that's where my roots are in Inslee there, so I hope it gets off the ground. Don't go away. This is Our Issues Birmingham. I'm Tommy Spina. I'm with David SHER today. We'll be right back.